What if prosperity isn't about what you earn? It's about the peace, joy, and creativity that you allow back into your life. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Are you guys ready to get into it? Let's go.
Here we go! Nicole Johnson, Nicole Johnson, Nicole Johnson, let's go!
I love dancing to my own intro music. Don't judge me. Welcome to another episode of Prosperity Conversations. I am the Nicole Johnson. Today's guest reminds us that prosperity is far bigger than money. It's peace of mind, it's health, it's joy, and the courage to reclaim the parts of ourselves that we once laid down. Today's guest is Teresa Phillips, a musician, singer, and creator whose journey has been shaped by resilience, creativity, and the healing power of music. She is singing my tune, y'all. You all give a hand clap. Yay! For Miss Teresa Phillips. Welcome to the stage and welcome to Prosperity Conversation. So glad to have you. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. So wonderful to have you. Now, listen, resilience, all of those things, whoo, that is right up our alley. So, we're going to jump right into our main question for all of our guests. And what does prosperity mean to you?
Prosperity doesn't mean as much as money as it does for me is the ability to create, the ability to do the things that bring me joy without having to answer to anybody else except my inner self. Because I know what brings me joy and what doesn't. And prosperity is so much more an attitude of gratitude. Just being thankful for the simple things such as the sunrise. I saw a gorgeous sunrise this morning. So thankful to see it. That also helps bring in more money by being grateful.
I love that answer, Teresa. So right here on this shelf is my gratitude container. And what I do is I write on a card, today I'm thankful for, and I fill in the blank. And that has come in handy for me when I don't always have the opportunity because it's 2 a.m, or that friend that I can normally call is just not available. So when things are going the way that I don't want them to go, and I'm feeling like I need that motivation, I can go to pull that jar out right there and say, hey, this is going to remind me of when everything was better, right? Not perfect, but better. So I love that answer. So let me ask you this. Why do you think peace is often overlooked in conversations of prosperity?
Well, you can't really be prosperous and be in an anxiety situation. Peace keeps you calm, you're thinking calm, you're not jumping off one bridge to, just jumping everywhere. I mean, you get calm guidance, you get yourself calm, you can make clear decisions, which helps you stay at peace and okay, I'm following the right path. Because sometimes if you're caught in the anxiety, which I have been,
Me too.
you can't think. I mean, you can't think. I mean, it's all 8 cylinders firing. You don't know which way to go. But peace is such a wonderful thing. And sometimes you remind yourself, hey, deep breath, step back, remember the peace that you had, because that never goes away. You just have to keep reminding yourself, look, it's there. You've just got to keep yourself calm, keep your nervous system calm. That's something that I've learned in the last, I'd say, year.
Okay. So Teresa, you said you've learned that in the last year. Let me ask you this then. Prior to this last year or so, what was your understanding of prosperity then? How did it look to you before you came into this understanding that you have now?
It looked like financial only. it was financial only, and I was missing the entire boat because, as I said before, it's not just financial. Yeah, that helps. But if you're grateful for things, I mean, I've had to learn to be grateful because of the life that I've gone through. So there's just certain mind shifts and mindsets that you've got to look within yourself, say, okay, this isn't working. Let's try this. And it up until this past year, I really couldn't do that. So I'm really pleased with myself.
I love that. So, would you mind sharing what was the turning point for you?
The turning point came, this is now 4 years since Dad's been gone. I was just lost in a drift after I lost him because I was taking care of him, being a caregiver. Suddenly went from a caregiver to what do I do with myself? And I've studied with different people like the Napoleon Hill group, Philip the Abundance Alchemist, and others. And it's like somebody told me, like, look, focus on what you can do for others. Live a life of service. I'm like, well, I mean, I can do that. But it took me a while to undo all the past junk. And sometimes it does take a while to do that. You know, if you've got like a negative money mindset, if you don't know how to undo it, then that's going to continue until you can reach. And it takes a lot of courage to be able to undo all that stuff because sometimes we wind up we play a victim card sometimes. I've done it. I'll admit that. But I chose not to do that anymore. I'm like, I'm not a victim. What happened to me made me stronger. And the stronger I am, the more I can look and see what I was blind to. And it's just like my whole world has opened up in a beautiful way.
I love that. And I love that now you're sharing that story with your audience, my audience, because somebody somewhere is listening, wondering, I'm sitting in that same spot. I'm sitting in that stuck spot and I don't know what to do. I'm having a money mindset issue. I'm having an emotional mindset issue. We can have different types of issues and blockages, but it's once we do that work, and I'm hearing you say that, and I'm remembering my own personal journey of recovering from financial failure. And it's once we do that work and do that work to the point that we don't have to keep revisiting that work, right? So, Teresa, let me ask you, in this last
Right.
year, that you come to that realization, has anything happened that kind of made you almost revert back to where you came from and you realized that you had things in place to keep you from going there, like you almost backslid but you didn't?
Oh, I did that. I did backslide, but something inside said, wait a minute, hold up. You're going on the wrong merry-go-round, girl. The right merry-go-round's over here. Stop. So I did, and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, why am I still doing this when I know better? So sometimes it takes a huge pivot. It's like, okay, you need to be going right instead of left. And I trust my inner guidance. And that took a long time for me to trust. So it is hard when you're in a situation such as grief, a job loss, or anything else like that, because you're not able to think clearly, because you've got all that junk coming in. And I have been told at one point that some of the beliefs that we carry are actually generational beliefs.
Oh, yeah.
Because like with the beliefs with money, that runs straight up my family line, because I remember things that Dad and Mom had said. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this really true? And for me, it's no longer true.
And I love that because it takes a lot to step out of the things we've seen and done for years. It's like once we realize that we're on a path of what might be destruction, Maybe that path that mom and dad or grandma and grandpa did, maybe it was appropriate for them at that time, but times are different. And so
Right.
now the times are different,
Right.
you have to do things differently. And so it's very hard. I've used this example on our in our conversations before. Nicole, how do you make a sweet potato pie? I do these certain steps because that's what grandma showed me. That's what I watched grandma do in the kitchen for years. And I see all these different recipes and
Mm,
things on TikTok and YouTube here, and I'm like, mm-mm, that's not right. That's not right. But there are some other
right.
things I watch grandma and mom do that I'm going, that's not right for these times. And so I want to
Right.
applaud you for recognizing that you had to do something different. But here's what I also heard you say. You backslid a little bit, right? We had a moment of
You do.
backsliding.
You do.
Okay. So I want to say
We
this.
do.
There is magic in starting over. I want the audience to understand that, because you don't start over from scratch. You start over with a lesson that you learned. And you also start over
That's very
knowing
true.
that you don't have to take as long as you did before. So you've got the resilience inside of you. You just have to activate it. So again, Teresa, I applaud you for activating that inside of yourself. So let me ask you this. How is it that what you learned is now allowing you to help others through what you do?
Well, what it's doing is I'm recognizing I've been through a lot of trauma in my life. I'm not going to go 100% into that, but if I can help one other person by either the podcast, my music, my singing, whatever, then my life's going to be worthwhile. And there are people that have gone through the same things that I have. So if I can help them, regardless of what the way is, help them walk through the paths of hell back into heaven, as I'm known for saying, if I can do that for somebody or help somebody to come to that decision, my life's been well spent.
I love it. I love it. And I love the name of your podcast. So, what led you to launch your podcast, Phoenix Rising Wisdom of the Heart?
What led me to do this is I volunteer at a radio station in our local area. And it took me a year, first off, to get the vignettes, because I did the vignettes, I recorded them, I produced them. They are now playing. And my mentor at the radio station at that time had suggested, these are good. Why don't you start a podcast? And another mentor from the Napoleon Hill group said the exact same thing. Look, you've got too much wisdom. Don't keep it bottled in. Let it out. So that's exactly why I named it Phoenix Rising. And I will say this, the wisdom of the heart can have many different facets. It can be just as clean and clear as a slow moving stream, or it can be as wild and in your face as Kilauea erupting, and everything in between. So this podcast is not scripted. I do it directly from the heart. I'll meditate and ask for a subject. I've only done, I think, 3 right now. I'm not doing anything else until the beginning of next year because I'm doing a revamp. But every woman's or every man's heart is going to resonate differently. We have wisdom, but we all have it in different sections, different lives, different experiences. I mean, we're only walking each other home anyway. I mean, if you've got the knowledge, for heaven's sake, help somebody else. Because I know what it was like when nobody would help me. That's why I'm like, no, we're not doing this game anymore.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. And so, Teresa, let me ask you this. Why do you think that peace is such a critical part of true prosperity?
Because you're not being pulled by the wind this way and that. Once you have that peace inside, I mean, for me, it's a wonderful feeling. I can get up. I don't feel like I'm being pulled, in 50 different directions. If you are peaceful, your mind's calm, you can make the decisions that you want to make and need to make. Meditate, listen to spirit, and plan your life accordingly. But if you're not peaceful, or if your nervous system is still fight or flight, and a lot of people's are, then that's going to make it more difficult for the prosperity that you want to come in, because it's a well-known fact that, anxiety, nervousness, fear, all that stuff does block or delay your prosperity. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. That was an extremely hard lesson for me to learn. But once I learned it, I'm like, okay, would I rather be a victim of the past, or would I be a pioneer of the future? And I choose a pioneer of the future, because the way I'd been living up until that point, I'm going to be a pioneer of the future, and that's what I want. I don't want to remain in the past. But if I can use my past to help somebody else, then I just go that much further, because we all need to help one another. I mean, with the current situation, with all the divisiveness, we need to realize we're all of the same clan, I'll put it this way, but we're all human beings. Why do some of the stuff that's, been done? And you've got to look at it this way. It's like, okay, what do I want to be? And am I willing to junk everything that I've learned in the past in order to make myself stronger, make myself more clear-minded, where I can make the right decisions instead of just being torn any which way the wind blows?
I absolutely love that, because when you have clarity, you see better, you feel better, you think better, you hear better, all of those different things. Your decision making skills are better. You actually clear out toxins when you have clarity and peace in your body. I didn't realize that it was until actually with another guest talking about how our nervous system is directly impacted by the amount of stress that we carry. I knew the body was impacted, but
That's
not
right.
necessarily directly the nervous system. So I'm learning a lot as I do these prosperity conversations, and I love it. And again, I applaud you for your journey. So as we wrap up, let me ask you this. There's somebody listening, watching this on the YouTube channel, listening to this across the podcast space, and they're feeling stuck. What is the one thing you would say to them to get them to move just to that next step?
When you're stressed, stop, step back, take 3 to 5 very long, very deep breaths. This is going to calm your mind, and just realize, fine. Keep breathing. Don't make snap judgments, especially when you're stressed, because almost 100% of the time, that's going to lead to the wrong. That's going to lead to the wrong direction, and just more stress and pain.
I thank you so much. And so, Teresa, I appreciate you sharing your story with us. And to everyone watching, as I always say, prosperity isn't something you chase. It is definitely something that you choose. As always, this has been another episode of Prosperity Conversations, and I am the Nicole Johnson, your host. Till next time.